Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Stylogram podcast, the place where you learn about all things that are hot or not and which beauty trend to hitch or ditch. Today, to help us discuss more on fashion news, we have Payal Kothari, who is the brainchild of the shoe brand Varishka. She's going to tell us how to find the right shoe for your tinsel toes. So let's not waste any more time and get cracking with her. Hi Payal, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me here. It's very exciting to be on Stylogram.
We're very excited as well. So Payal, tell us, what made you get into this and at what age did you get into it?
So I've been doing shoes for about 10 years now. I started my career in New York. I studied at FIT. I was designing shoes in New York for about 3 years before I came back to India and then started doing Varishka here.
Okay, so you studied shoemaking, is it?
That's right. Accessory design, which had shoes, it had handbags, it had belts. So anything to do with accessories is what I studied, but I kind of stuck to doing shoes.
So how did you find this passion for shoes at such an early age? And also, did you feel that there's a space for it in India at that point, which is what made you get into it?
Exactly, Malika. You know what? I was here visiting from New York on one of my holidays, and I found it so difficult, and people were complaining about how they don't get the right shoes. And strangely enough, even today, I have a lot of people complaining about the same thing, men more than women now. But yes, when I started off about 10 years ago, there was just nobody in the space, and everybody who was in the space was primarily making shoes that were like Kolhapuris, and they were just like, wedges to some extent, but nobody was doing high heels or high fashion shoes for the Indian market.
Okay, and so that's exactly why you got into it, and you felt like you'd be good at it as well.
No, actually, while I was studying at FIT, my passion, I was kind of, I was warming up to the idea of doing shoes more than anything else. I knew I definitely didn't want to do clothing. By then, when I was studying at FIT, I'd already finished my education. I'd already got a business degree from Rhode Island School, Bryant University. I was already working with Reuters as a market analyst. So it was like a well-thought process. I was doing evening school at FIT, trying to warm up to the idea of getting into fashion. And yeah, so it was a very, very thought out process. So
tell us a little bit about Varishka. First of all, I want to know what the name means, because it's very different.
Frankly speaking, Malika, if I had a chance to change the name now, I would, because, it's almost like Payal Kothari works for Varishka now.
Right.
Which I did want it in a certain way, that I wanted Varishka to be its own identity. So the women who wear my shoes are the Varishka women now. And the name Varishka was just something that kind of, she's a model from the 1960s. She's one of the first supermodels. And then she went into the whole thing about giving back to society, and she did a lot of charity. So I wanted Varishka to have a life of its own, where it was not just a shoe brand, because fashion brands are not considered serious, at least when I started off. So I thought, this was a way for it to be a little more serious in what we do, because, shoes at the end of the day has...
Oh, wow. I had no idea that it was a person's name. I actually thought it was just a word that you coined up.
No, actually, it has nothing to do with my name. No Payal Kothari or anything in it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about shoemaking, because I know it's quite an art. No one can just enter this business, right? Because the heel is really important.
That's right. Actually speaking, the shoemaking process is very technical. You're working in millimeters rather than inches. So the entire construction of a shoe is almost like, it's very architectural. So you have to have the right arches, the right molds. And unlike clothing, it takes it takes about 5 artisans to make one pair of shoe.
Really?
Yes.
So how does that work while you're producing it? I've always wondered. So you need multiple sizes for a certain pair, right?
Right.
So that must be quite taxing, because do the heel size vary with the size?
That's right. So every last is basically the croquis on which the shoe is lasted, like the pattern is lasted. needed. And if you're a size 36 and I'm a 39, it's going to not, you
going
need
to
a
be
different
different.
mold. Right. Other than that, even the heel height differs from last to last. So you can be a size 36 and want a 4-inch heel, which has a different last, while if I want a 2-inch heel, it's going to have a different last to it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, really
Yes.
technical.
Yes, very.
And then you need to produce these shoes and you probably have so many of them, right?
Yeah, we do. So we do prototyping.
Tell us a little bit about the range of shoes that you have.
So currently on my shoe wall in my office, you'll find about 300 to 400 designs. And
Wow.
they all are pretty much my size. So I actually get to work and then I pick up from the shelf and I just wear what I feel like.
That's so cool. That's a girl's
Yeah.
dream come true.
Yes, but it's my office. So yeah, that's what it is.
So which is your favorite pair?
You know, I've been asked this before, a favorite pair. I don't have a favorite pair, but I do have a favorite style. Like,
Okay.
I personally think the slingback shoe and a peep toe combined with like a wedge or a heel kind of works the best for me, because the peep toe allows my feet to breathe and the slingback lets me sling on the shoe without actually putting on any straps. So even when I'm designing, I try to make it as simple as possible for people to put on their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, I feel that a lot of times you find fabulous shoes and then you find shoes that just blend into the outfit. Like you'll find nudes and blacks, and all of them are equally important. So for the Indian woman who's like maybe wearing a sari, do you think that it's important for her to wear glamorous shoes at all times? So what I'm trying to ask you is, when should someone concentrate on the shoes and when should someone let the shoes be a background?
So if the outfit is really busy, I would say that, go for a little more, understated shoes, or go for the nude or the clear shoes that they're talking about right now. But if it's if the outfit is, a little more plain or solids, then you can go a little crazy on your shoes. Like, you have Charlotte Olympia doing all these crazy things on the
Yeah.
shoes. So, I mean, if you pair that up with a crazy outfit with all these patterns all over the place, you're going to look like a clown. So you probably don't want to do that.
So do you do both? Do you even do simple shoes?
Yes, I do simple shoes. I do fancy shoes. I use a lot of fabric in my shoes.
Okay.
But then most of them are a little more different than the run-of-the-mill shoes.
There'll be
I
like a
won't-
twist to
Exactly.
everything.
I won't just do a basic black pump,
Because that was my next question. How do you set apart from like a Nine West or an Aldo or even the big brands like Gucci, and as well as, the stores that, not the street stores, but the stores like in Bombay, we have Warden Road, which has so many shoes.
Right.
So where do you fit in? Because you're somewhere in the middle of both the spectrums.
See, yeah, I'm not a high street brand. I'm not like a, high luxury brand. So what I basically am able to offer to the clients is customization. So
Okay.
on a weekly basis, we have everybody from brides or women with very large feet or very small feet come to us and get what they want made. So, we're catering to that market where people are just customizing shoes as per their requirement. And, we live in a country, we customize everything.
Yeah.
Right from our food to our clothing, all our designers.
And they're happy to pay for it
Yes.
as well.
So everybody wants everything customized. And the customer is very, very knowledgeable now than they were probably 10 years before when I started. They know exactly what they want. They have the whole style down to the T. They know when they walk into the store, they know exactly how they want
So
their
how does
shoe.
this work? So they enter and then they tell you what they want and then you actually design it for them.
Yes. So they sit right in front of me and I'll ask them a few questions, basic questions, what they're looking for. Then I sketch the shoe out. I have swatches, I've got shoes, I've got style. We put it together. So there are times when I put 4 shoes on the table and I said, I'm going to use this heel, I'm going to use this peep toe, I'm going to use this back, and I'm going to use this fabric. So we kind of mix and match and then we kind of get a shoe.
So tell us some insider secrets of certain body types that can wear certain types of shoes. Like if you're big boned, what kind of shoe do you think would work for that person?
So, I don't think, your feet are not going to change if you are a larger size or a smaller size in terms of your feet don't grow with your weight. So
Okay.
that's a good thing. So you can always run to your cupboard whenever you're not feeling great and pull out those really funky pair of shoes that you like. But what I'm trying to say is that if you're if you're really, really tall, don't try to wear the Pinocchio front because it's
What is
just...
the Pinocchio front?
a Pinocchio is basically a pointed shoe in the front, but it's a little more elongated than a normal pointed front.
Okay.
So try not to wear something, if you're really tall, try not to wear something too pointed, because it's going to kind of draw attention to, it being a little too, I don't
Pointed
know.
everywhere.
Yes, exactly. So if you're short,
So
I would
what is the
suggest
heel?
so.
What is the toe that you would recommend for a tall person? Because I'm a tall person, so this is of interest to me.
Round toes are good. Peep toes are great. So I mean, any kind of shoes that are not over the top pointed would be great for someone who's tall. But then again, there's no rule to it. You see models on the runway wearing the really pointed shoes by the designers, and it all works.
Yeah.
But then
But the runway is different from everyday life.
Yes, it is. It's totally different. What you're wearing on the runway and how you dress is not something how you'd walk out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about for a short person?
So for a short person,
I've seen some killer heels that they wear, and I feel like they could trek up mountains in these heels because they're so used to it.
yeah, you see people running around in these really high heels, but the key is, is to have a lift in the front. The higher the lift, it offsets the heel.
Okay.
So that kind of makes the shoe a lot more comfortable. But again, the lift cannot be over the top, high, because then it's just going to look a little trashy.
Sometimes it also looks like a weapon of destruction. Like, honestly, sometimes shoes can look very scary with those pointy heels, and they're so bulky.
Yeah, they have, like Valentino and all, they're doing all these studs and all on them. So, yeah, you could use the shoe as a weapon. Yeah,
Maybe.
it'd be great.
And what about, I feel like for a thick, ankled women,
Right.
they should avoid having a strap around their ankle. Is that true? Would you say the same?
Actually, it all depends on the width of the strap around the ankle. If it's too wide, it's going to make your foot look bulky.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use, if you have big ankles, try to wear straps that are thinner. So it kind of makes the ankle look leaner.
Okay. And
Yeah.
for thin-boned ankles, is there anything specific?
Wear wider straps on the ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it.
Okay. And tell me an international designer that, you kind of aspire to be.
While I was working in New York, I used to visit the MeCamp show, which happens in Europe every year. And when you're on the floor out there, it's like madness of designers, people you don't know, from the smallest designers to the biggest designers. So in terms of favorite, I think Sergio Rossi was the first designer shoe I bought, and it was
Okay.
absolutely comfortable. And that's when I realized, this is the difference between a designer shoe and a run-of-the-mill, off-the-street shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you've dressed a lot of celebrities, right? And I think you've done fashion shows and stuff.
Right.
So tell us your experience with that, with both of them actually.
So, I've been doing Lakme for a few years now, and we started off in 2007. We've done 2 ramp shows with Lakme. We've done India Beach Fashion Week. I've had my shoes also at the London Fashion Week 2 years ago. So, yeah, being on the ramp is a different feeling altogether. Plus, I just concentrate on the shoe aspect of it, and people are understanding the importance of shoes now. It's taking center stage.
Yeah.
So suddenly, everybody's coming to us to kind of do that. But my customers are not the ones that are attending the fashion show.
Yeah.
There are celebrities we work with, right from Kajol to we've dressed Alia to Bipasha. You can just go on with the names.
That probably gives you a lot of visibility, right? Having your shoes on them.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does. Another thing is we do shoes for Femina Miss India. Our shoes
Oh.
have been on the ramp for Miss World, Miss International. So they kind of,
They've been around Tinseltown.
Yes, so it's most of the girls who start off their career, they start off with Femina and stuff. So by the time they get to where they are, they've already won Virishka right from the time they started their career. So it's great.
But we just attended Amazon Fashion Week and Lakme Fashion Week, and looking at some of the shoes was so scary, because I feel like some designers, when they concentrate on the clothing, they make them wear these crazy shoes, like with these block heels heels, the shoelaces are open.
Yes.
There have been so many
Yes.
models that have fallen on stage. Do you think that's largely because of, the crazy shoes and people don't really understand what goes into
I've done
the
shoes right
shoemaking?
from Manish to Vikram to Sabyasachi, shoes in the past to Priya Kataria Puri. So we do shoes for everybody. And we've been doing it for a long time now. But there's certain designers who really take the trouble to do good shoes. And not only that, they give it to the models to wear it beforehand so they get comfortable with it. Look, falling on the ramp, it could happen to anybody, and it all depends.
But it largely depends on the shoes that you're wearing, I would assume.
Not really. It's just that if the floor is slippery or if something's stuck under the shoe or the model is not comfortable, maybe she has a weak ankle, there could be several different...
Or they trip on what they're wearing as well.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's
they
a
trip
big
on
one.
what they're
because
wearing.
the clothes are as crazy as well.
Yes. And with all the lights flashing in your face, they kind of lose their balance sometimes. So there could be a lot of things. Yes, if the heel actually breaks on the ramp,
That's terrible.
that is
for the
something,
shoemaker as well.
that would be a really oh my god, I want to just die right now. But when I'm watching these shows and I'm sitting front row with other designers, and when they're walking down, I'm just like, oh please
Me
don't.
too. Like
They'll
my
have
heart was
rickety-
like pounding. It's so scary looking at them in these shoes.
I had one designer, I won't name, I actually called her up and I told her, I'm going to send you free shoes, because if you use the same shoes you're wearing for your models right now, I promise you, somebody's going to fall.
They're going to fall
and
on
break.
their face.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you faced a lot of competition in the Indian market?
See, now a lot more designers are propping up. Of course, I have the first entry into the market, so people do know me about my brand. I do have a set clientele and have a lot of people coming to me. But yes, in terms of competition, but you know what? There are some people who are just making mojeries. A lot of them are just making mojeries. So that's a whole different set. Those are not shoes; they're just mojeries. But then there are people who are doing shoes. A lot more online websites are doing that. Brands are cropping up from nowhere and everywhere, and they kind of you're kind of competing in the same space to some extent online with even the shoes that are made from China. So this is not where we are. We try to be different. Like we did Jabong Fashion Week about 2 years ago.
Right.
We got a great response, and they kept a special designer segment. So yeah.
Okay.
So there is a lot more competition, but I think there's space for everybody to do a lot of creative work.
And what are some of the challenges working with Indian craftsmen?
It's a nightmare. So basically, after studying at FIT, I went to Florence and I studied advanced shoemaking. Once I came back, I've trained my so I've had the same staff for the last 10 years. The guy who made your shoe 10 years ago is making your shoe today. All these guys are trained by me. The patterns are cut by us. So we take the shoemaking process very literally. Like our product is not a $4.99 shoe.
Yeah.
So because it takes a lot to get a shoe really out there.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, just that we have a lot of artisans working and they're very good at what they do.
Yeah.
And I just want to request we are kind of taking away from fashion by telling the consumer that it's not important by selling them products for about $4.99.
Yeah.
So please appreciate what the artisans do. It takes a lot for them. The whole Make in India, if you really want to support it, pay the right price for your products, and you don't have to not just buy things.
And I think for that you have to have the knowledge of like what goes into like a good quality, comfortable, stylish pair of shoes rather than just buy something that looks good.
Yeah, so aesthetic appeal is greatly important, but the inner construction of a shoe is very, very important because that's what kind of holds it all together.
Right.
There's like a shank in there. There's a lot of technical stuff that goes inside a shoe which you never look at. The foaming,
Right.
the lining, the
Wow.
stitching, the block heels, the placement of all of it. So I'm saying that it's an art. Don't let it lose its creativity by trying to rush the process of gratification and price and those factors.
Well, we'll talk a lot more about all of that in our next segment. Let's take a break for now.
It was rated Goregaon's most intelligent podcast. It was the best new podcast of the day when it was launched. And now, the irreverent brand of attempted humor and botched education is coming your way. You have many burning questions.
So what is the Brexit? What do mathematicians do, man? I mean...
Introducing Simplified, a weekly podcast that deconstructs issues around you, such as what on earth is Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin is just another currency like the rupee or dollar. The difference here is it's a virtual currency.
Do resolutions in cameras really matter?
They think that just because a number is higher, what they're getting is actually more.
And encryption.
So encryption, okay, is a process of encoding messages in such a fashion that only the intended recipient sees it in its intended format.
Hosted by Narendra Shanoy, a very wise man who can't stop making B.G. Woodhouse references. And Deepak Gopalakrishnan, who calls himself Chuck, a madman who can't stop making poor jokes.
Naren, what do you call a forest where you find all the latest news?
I don't have a good feeling about
A topical rainforest.
Follow Chuck and Naren as they scour Google and read Wikipedia for you and condense it into language you can understand. Simplified, helping you appear smarter to an audience that knows no different.
And we're back with Payal Kothari. Welcome back, Payal.
Hi.
So are you ready for our next round?
Yes, let's
Okay.
go.
So Payal, tell our listeners 3 trends that you're currently loving.
You know, I absolutely love the pom-pom trend, not to be confused with the fur trend. You know,
It's
fur-
very different.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So yeah, pom-pom is
So
one of them.
explain how you would wear pom-poms.
So I have one dangling on my purse. I love pom-poms on the shoes. And the really large size pom-pom. You know,
Okay.
the really furry, large size, not the boho pom-pom. I think that's kind of out. So it's got to be a nice furry little
Even like
pom-pom.
a sweatshirt with pom-poms would look
that's
very cool.
Great. That's great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can use pom-pom. Just don't overdo it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you can just have your pom-poms. I have one dangling on my purse, and it's just so fun to kind of just have some movement around.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. And what are the other 2?
I think the block heel. I think the block heel is back in a big way, which I'm really happy about. The wider the heel, the more comfort and the more you can do on the heel.
Yeah. Does it
Yeah.
make your legs look chunkier though?
Not particularly. I think the width of it, kind of the angle, it all depends on your personal taste. But along with that, strangely, even the kitten heel is really in right now, which is looking great.
Yeah. I
So-
love the kitten heel because I'm tall. And I
Right.
feel it gives me just the right, height, and it's so comfortable at the same time.
Yeah, it's looking good nowadays. It's
Yeah.
paired very well. So I think that the block heel, the kitten heel, the pom-pom,
Yeah.
and it's velvet. We're
Yeah.
using a lot more velvet. The theme is the fashion theme is very dark and deep right now. So I'm writing all these 3 trends and hope to make a shoot all of them together.
But velvet would be very hard on shoes, right? Because it could spoil the shoe very easily, and then to clean it up would be tough.
No, strangely enough, we use a lot of fabric on our shoes. It doesn't get bad that easily. You can. Velvet is actually very more forgiving than any other fabric.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be like suede.
Suede again is fairly forgiving. Our weather kind of doesn't permit suede when it kind of more like when you store your shoes openly when they are suede, they
no,
kind of
also
catch.
with the monsoons, they get quite dirty.
Yeah, but that won't probably happen so much in velvet, and you can just put it in an airtight bag and just keep it, and it should be fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a really funny fashion faux pas that you've seen or made.
Made.
Better so if you've made it yourself.
Well, I will tell you guys. For talking about falling on the ramp, I did one show at Lakme Fashion Week where my showstopper did kind of trip. Luckily, she didn't fall. And the reason being is I think she kind of changed her shoes at the last minute against my wishes. And I was like, you need to really practice. They're these really big wooden heels.
Yeah.
And you needed to practice walking on them. They were 6 inches to 7 inches high. And it almost looks like a weapon, that shoe. And yeah, so she did have a little bit of a trip. And I was supposed to come out just immediately after because we were supposed to walk down the ramp together, and I actually had no expression on my face, but it was kind of fun. The media was kind of sweet about it. Of course, it got crazy amount of hits on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you know how they say no kind of publicity is bad.
I
bad
love those
publicity.
videos of those really funny international videos of models.
Yeah, but some of
tripping,
them
but
look
it's
really
hilarious.
scary, like they really hurt themselves.
No, obviously they hurt themselves is different, but when they're in these really uncomfortable heels and they're just shaking and
Yeah,
falling.
I think that's where the boomerang was invented because they just don't go down. They wobble their way all the way down, and it's hilarious. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
One of those compilations, I think, of 20 models falling is just like, oh my
Oh,
God, on a
yes,
bad
I've
day, if
seen
you watch
that.
that, suddenly everyth's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so give us a tip that a bride could use for her wedding day in relation with shoes.
They need to really. Like brides are actually planning their shoes way in advance now when they come to me, and my tip to them is try to stick to wedges for your fairas and your other functions. Try to do like a stiletto or a block heel for your cocktail, and I think they need to kind of wear their shoes before for a little while, not to just, that's for any kind of shoe. So try your shoes on before. Don't overmatch your outfit with your shoe. Go in
I
contrast.
see a lot of that, actually. I was going to ask you about that. So, like, I see people getting the same embroidery on their shoe that's there on their lehenga. And I don't know whether that's really a great thing.
I kind of do away from that. Taking a few elements from it and putting it onto the shoe is great. But mostly I have my own embroideries and designs and stuff. And I try to stick to doing that.
Yeah.
So, yes, pairing it up is just a waste of money because you're not going to use the shoe again.
And you mentioned wedges. Do you think wedges give you the same poise with an outfit?
No, it doesn't. But under the lehenga, some of them are just looking for height because sometimes the guy is too tall, or they want putting on a higher heel. The higher the heel, the more slimmer you look.
Right.
So they do want to look slimmer on their special day. So under the lehenga, I think it matters little if you're wearing heels or wedges.
So under the lehenga, but if your legs are showing, then you should probably avoid it.
Yes, please try to stick to wearing
stilettos or
yes.
block heels or something which is comfortable.
Yeah.
And how would you accessorize a little black dress in a very cool way?
My go-to shoe right now is a glitter shoe.
Yeah.
And I was like, anything glitter, because it's December now,
Yeah.
anything with glitter looks great. So if you have a black dress, you can actually just go crazy with the colors.
Okay.
But ideally wear a black satin pump pointed shoe with a stiletto heel. And I think anything on top with it, a pom-pom or any kind of diamond hardware.
On the shoe.
A red color satin shoe. I think satin goes really well for the season.
With like a formal,
yes.
Also for Christmas and New Year's, I
Yes,
guess.
yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. So great. Now we're going to dive right into a rapid fire. Are you nervous,
A
Payal?
little bit, because I see a hamper out there which I really want.
Don't lie, Payal. There's no hamper. Don't spread rumors.
All right, there's no hamper.
So great. So let's get started. Matching or contrast?
Contrast.
Advice to people buying shoes.
Try to experiment a little bit.
Okay. Your most finicky customer experience?
Oh my God, so many.
Give us one.
I had one customer who actually thought my shoe studio was a salon, who needed to come every single day. And I mean, as many shoes as she ordered, it just got so difficult kind of constantly catering to her. But there are just so many. Some of them nice, some of them not so much. But
Okay.
yeah.
Gold, silver or black?
Gold.
Okay. Favorite wedding function to design for?
I think it's probably the mehndi. Yeah.
And what is the quirkiest shoe that you've designed?
Oh, yeah. It's this wooden heel shoe that I created. It's kind of hollow in the middle. It's almost got like a window in the center. It looks like an African shoe. I don't know how to describe it but it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and on top it's like
And I did a lot of
embellished.
funky. The whole theme was African, so we did all these prints with like these hanging tassels from it, and it just but it
Wow.
it all just went so well together.
Yeah,
I will
it sounds
send you
very cool.
Details of that.
Favorite Indian designer?
I think, of course, everybody loves Sabya, and I personally, Anushri Reddy, I wore her for my wedding.
Yeah.
I think she's very, very simple
Very
and
feminine
easy.
as well.
Yes, floral.
Yeah.
I like her. Yeah,
Heels or flats?
heels definitely.
Your style icon?
I think it probably would be, I don't know, Olivia.
Okay. Person you admire?
I would be, in terms of my workspace and stuff, my husband, he's got the greatest work ethic.
how sweet.
Yeah.
Indian or modern?
I think modern.
Yeah. Modern in design sensibility, I'm
I just
assuming.
say that because I just have people asking me for crazy Indian shoes, overbearing ones. So yeah, modern.
Okay. Secret to success?
I think it would be, concentrate on the craft rather than the sales and the madness of production and trying to meet the demand and supply. So try to stay true to the craft, and it kind of, I've been around for 10 years and I try to do that every single day.
Okay. Last gift you gave someone?
That would be shoes.
I would assume. Money or fame?
Both, actually.
Okay, why not?
Right.
One superpower you wish you had?
At this point, I wish I had superpower to make a shoe without the 5 artisans, and I could just produce it and just,
A 3D shoe.
Yes.
Like that 3D printing that's happening right now.
Exactly.
Style is?
Personal.
Okay. Your guilty pleasure?
Well, shopping.
Like every girl. What makes you smile?
When the colors on the shoe just match really well and it comes to life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly, what's next for you?
So next is we are trying to, we've been doing Fashion Week in India. We're trying to go, abroad to Europe and do it right there. So that's what's probably coming up.
Oh, that would be so cool, like
Yeah.
Paris Fashion Week or something?
Well, maybe not Paris Fashion Week, but the smaller ones there. So we want to reach out to the international audience and people. So yeah, we're trying to take the whole customization game a lot bigger.
Oh, nice. And
Yeah.
stock it, one of the stores abroad. That's
We've
so
already
cool.
been doing that, but we just want to do it. We want the brand to stock itself rather than just the shoe being there.
Oh, nice. Well, hope that'll happen
Yes.
soon, Payal, and
Thank
hope
you.
to catch up with you soon.
Thank
you
you.
so much for coming in here and talking to us.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you so much for tuning in yet again. You can stay in touch with us by following us on Facebook at Stylogram Official and on Instagram at Stylogram_official. In the meanwhile, you can also download our episodes on iTunes and on SoundCloud. See you soon next week.
Our podcasts bring all the boys to the yard, and damn right, they're better than yours. But you don't need to stand outside in the yard. Just follow IVM Podcasts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We might be on Tinder too. Just go ahead and swipe right.